What's up, everybody? My name's Parasite. Welcome back to the Jose Mourinho Challenge with Chelsea. Today we start our first full season here at Chelsea, and we're traveling to the Emirates to take on Arsenal in the first game of the season. We have had our first full offseason here at Chelsea, and, well, business has to be done. Money, a lot of money, has been spent. But this is a team that when I joined it was outside of the European spots, and I want to finish in a Champions League spot this year. And so the team needed to be better, especially with one player unfortunately leaving that I didn't really fully plan on. I had considered it, but I hadn't fully planned on it actually happening. And so we had to replace them, and we had to replace some other players that are going to be leaving soon. So we spent big money, but this team is better than the team I joined. And hopefully that'll show on the pitch. Even with all the money spent, we still have money here at the club. We have 75 million in the budget, 162 million in the transfer budget, and around 500k still in the wage budget. So there's still money there, but we are full on our registration spot. So I think our business is done. But let's start with some players that have left the club. To start off, one I didn't really plan on or expect. Callum Hudson Odoi has left Chelsea to go to Liverpool. Last season, he came to me and was upset because he wanted to leave. I was able to kind of talk him around a little bit, saying, you know, if some interest came in on him, I would consider it. None did that season. Well, this offseason, Liverpool came and they wanted to spend money on him. They wanted Callum Hudson-Odoi, and I wasn't going to be able to turn it down. His contract was expiring at the end of the season. At no point since I joined the team would he accept a new contract, so there was no way he was going to stay here. He was going to leave on a free if we didn't sell him. So I decided, okay, let's get money for him. I know he's homegrown at club, homegrown at nation, and all that, which is very valuable, and he's still a really solid player. But I'd rather get money for him than lose him on a free. So we have sold him to Liverpool for $40 million. Not a bad fee to get back, but not really the English tax you would expect for a player of his ability. Still at only 29 years old, but we just had to take what we could get. The second player that left was kind of the same story. Pierre Kalulu has left to go to Manchester United. He was upset that we didn't get Champions League football, even though it wasn't never promised him by me at least, but him and a bunch of other players wanted Champions League football. And once United showed some interest, he wanted to leave. He was going to leave. And I just had to sell him. So his contract is running out pretty soon as well. So I was in a pretty similar situation. So we were forced to sell him, but we got good money for him. $87 million, which is actually exactly what they paid for him. So he's 30 years old, still in his prime, but we got back what we paid for him when we had to make the sale. So I'm okay with it, even if it does make us a little bit weaker in the short term. And the last player that left wasn't a transfer, it was a retirement. Romelu Lukaku has retired from football, and he's come on to be our coach. He's no good. He's absolutely awful, but we don't need him to be good. We have a very good coaching staff now with the players I signed from Sporting and the players I've signed since. Every single coach rating is 4.5 stars or 5 stars for every single role. So all we needed him for was to lower the workload, which in that instance, their star rating doesn't matter. The only star rating that's taken into effect is the lead coach rating. So I thought, you know what? I looked for other, club legends that would possibly join to be our coaching staff. There was no really good ones out there. Lukaku wanted to be a coach. I thought, why not? But we had to replace Lukaku, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Kalulu. And so to start, Lewis Nielsen's going to be not directly Kalulu's replacement, but he's actually going to be third choice, and he's going to fill a very similar role. He can play that right back spot. He can play that center back spot. He can even play midfield, but he's got the attributes to do whatever we need him to do. He can be an attacking fullback with the dribbling and crossing. Off the ball is even not bad. Passing's not bad. Really good vision, surprisingly. Player, obviously, we had at Sporting. We sold him on to Blackburn for $18 million, so he's been in England, and we bought him back for $9.5 million here at Chelsea. As a third choice, his attributes are perfect for what we need, and he's happy being a backup on relatively cheap wages. Next up, one of two replacements for two Sporting players we had on loan. We had Ruan and we had Franjic on loan last year. They weren't willing to loan them back, so we needed two more center backs. We only had two, especially with Kalulu leaving. So we needed two center backs, and Callum Doyle is going to be our number 4 center back. And for that role, center backs, they don't get tired much, so you don't need to do as much rotation there as you would in the midfield or wings or fullback. So for the fourth choice, for me at least, when you've got registration rules like England does, you want them to be homegrown, preferably homegrown at club, but we were actually okay in that. Even with Hudson Odoi leaving, we're still okay with homegrown at club. We just needed homegrown in nation players. And so we brought in Callum Doyle. Not only is he homegrown in nation, he's good enough that if he needed to play, I wouldn't hate it. Like 13s in a lot of areas that are important, even some decent physicals. 6'3", English obviously on pretty cheap wages, 35K a week. Happy being an emergency backup. It was more money than I wanted to spend, 33 million, but he's 26 years old. He's going to be here for 6 years probably as the fourth choice center back. And when you're that cheap, I think it's worth paying a little bit extra money. I got the English tax and all to get a guy that's going to fill a role in the team. And he's also left-footed, which is nice. So he's going to be a backup at that left-footed center back position. But we needed a third choice center back as well. One that was better than Callum Doyle, that if we started him, I'd actually feel really solid about it. And that is Gianluca Mancini. He's up there a little bit in age, 34 years old, but his physicals are still very good for 34. And I expect them to be very good for another season or two after this. And he's just really good everywhere else. His mentals are amazing. His technicals are very good. Amazing passing. Like, might be the best passing center back I've ever had, at least at this team or Sporting. And wages are very cheap, 80K a week. And he was free. So no extra money spent out. I think that's just a perfect deal. For a third choice center back, I think he's literally ideal. Now a Callum Hudson-Odoi replacement, one I've taken specifically from Sporting. Now, he might not look like a Callum Hudson-Odoi replacement. He's a midfielder, and I'm not going to be playing him on the wings, don't worry. But I've actually moved Zvonarek. He was a backup advanced playmaker for us last year. He's going to be backup winger this year. He can do that as well. And that let us bring in Mike Fromm to be the new backup advanced playmaker. He's a very good player, one that I wanted to use at Sporting. He just didn't really have the position for him, and he really developed the last 2 years out on loan. So he wasn't as good at like this, a couple of years prior, but he's very good right now, and he could be a very good backup for Gavi as that advanced playmaker. 92K a week wages, not bad till 2035. Decent ability, still has a lot of potential, and he's homegrown in nation and partially English. So you get that added benefit as well. He was at Blackpool. We bought him at Sporting for 135K. That might be the best business we've ever, second best business we've ever done, because that is a very cheap fee, and we've sold him on for 50 million, or we've bought him on for 50 million, however you want to put it, but he's a very good player. I really like Mike Fromm, and he's even got some versatility. He's got the finishing to be able to play that attacking central midfielder, and his tackling might not be amazing, and he might not be able to play defensive mid, but I think he can play that role as well. He's got 14 marking and 13 positioning, and he's got good stamina, work rate, aggression's decent, even though his bravery's not. I think he can play a defensive deep line playmaker role and be just fine as well. So plenty of versatility, really good player, English, $50 million, checked all the boxes, happy with that. And then a big one, and another one from Sporting. We had to replace Lukaku. I had kind of already thought it was going to be with one of the Sporting strikers, and it ended up being Bruno Thiago. I was interested in Luca Carna as well. He was actually the first one I went in for. I thought he fit what I wanted a little bit more. He's a little bit more of a physical player than Bruno Thiago, who's just more of your traditional advanced forward. But they wanted more money for him, and he wanted just stupid wages. I think he wanted like $500,000 a year. I just couldn't do it. I was happy around 400K. He did not budge. The first offer he wanted was $500,000. I threw up a bunch of added bonuses. He never moved down. I feel like the negotiating this year is a little broken. No matter what you add, they barely move on their actual wage demands. It's kind of dumb. But we've got Bruno Thiago in. Big money spent, but he's a very good player. 24 years old, world class, elite striker, amazing physical ability, 19 composure, really good finisher, can dribble, can pass, can do everything except really work hard. So he's not a pressing forward, but for what we need, I think he can do a pretty decent role. We know he can score goals. Hopefully he can do it for us. We spent 95 million on him, which seems like a lot of money, but for a world-class 24-year-old striker, that's kind of the going rate, and I'm happy to spend it. And if you think that's a lot of money, you might want to shield your eyes here in a minute, because we've also brought in Giovanni Herrazzo. He's not here currently. We've loaned him back out to Sporting because Mendy is not leaving until the end of this season. His contract runs out at the end of this season unless he plays 25 league games. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of rotation at goalkeeper to make sure that doesn't happen, because I, in no case, want him here next year. He's on like 120K a week. He's 38 years old, 39, going to be 39. He's not very good. I don't want him here for another year, but I couldn't justify keeping Herrazzo here on these wages, having him as a backup on those wages. I thought it made sense to ride out one more year with Mendy, and then next year, Giovanni Herrazzo will step in and be Chelsea's #1 goalkeeper. Not only is he one of the best young goalkeepers in the game, he's one of the best goalkeepers in general in the game. He is world class at everything. His shot stopping, amazing. Agility, anticipation, positioning, reflexes, one-on-ones. He has all of it. Handling, command of area, aerial reach. He's good at all of it. Even he's got some pace, decent acceleration. Rushing out's okay. Like, he's even got distribution, 16 passing, 16 throwing. He literally has everything you would ever want in a goalkeeper. And we've had to spend big on him, $400K a week. And if you have children nearby, shield their eyes. $171 million. This is the, like I talked before about the best deal we made at Sporting. This is the best deal we made. $2 million for this player. They sold him on for 171. That's crazy money, but we had it to spend. We still have over 100 million in the transfer budget. We had the money. And there were other options I could have got for goalkeepers that just weren't as good, but were a lot cheaper. But I'm not aiming for good values here at Chelsea. We did that for a long time at Sporting, and it didn't get us very far. It wasn't until we spent over 100 million on Luca Carna that we won the Champions League. So I'm going to get the best players I can here at Chelsea. And so we have brought in Giovanni Harazo to be our new #1 goalkeeper next season. A few more moves we've done. Players you might not even know. Francesco Benassi, he was our third choice goalkeeper when we got here, but he's not homegrown at club, not homegrown at nation, none of that. So like, he's not even good. So like, there's literally no point to have a goalkeeper to be third choice that isn't even good. And he was actually on decent wages as well, like 80K. So I got him out the door. He went to Frosinone for $2 million. Some players loaned out. James Boothby being probably the most notable of them. He was kind of our 4th, 5th choice midfielder last year, but he would have had to be registered this year, and we just didn't have the registration spots. So we've loaned him out to a club I will not identify. And another signing we brought in is a left back, Ibrahim Cisse, on loan from Arsenal. We needed a third choice left back, and they also needed to not need to be registered. So he had to be under 21 years old. The best I could find was Ibrahim Cisse. He's a solid player, and he's knows the language, shouldn't have any adaptability issues. So I thought it made sense. A player that if he had to start, I wouldn't cry. He could also play center back. He's 6'5". So he could also play center back. He's got some versatility. A decent option for a third choice at the left back position. Doyle can also play left back as well if we need somebody that's a little bit more defensively solid, but he does only have 3 crossing. Zuno as well has joined us permanently. We knew that was going to happen. We had a mandatory future fee, and he is signed for that mandatory future fee of $5.75 million. Now, before we get to the Arsenal game, I still want to go over a few of the other deals that Sporting have made, because there's been kind of a fire sale there, and it's not all us. Mostly us, but not all us. So the players that have left Sporting, starting off, Moussa Niakate, we knew this was happening. He had agreed a new deal with Brentford at the end of his contract. It was already agreed to before I even left. Bruno Tabata, I also thought was probably going to happen. His contract was expiring. I hadn't renewed it. I might have even let it run out. He's gone to Napoli, so good for him. He's going to Napoli. I doubt he plays if at all, but he's at Napoli. Mateus Pereira, who's our third choice left back we bought, they've sold him on to AEK. I don't know if they've really replaced him. Like, he's a solid, like, I like solid third choice or fourth choice players that aren't on much money, cheap deals, know the language, all that. He fit that perfectly, but apparently their manager disagrees. Plazari, another goalkeeper, has left to go to Atletico Madrid, $6 million. I mean, for actually what we paid for him, like, he's joined and left the club like 4 times now. But we originally bought him for 170K, sold him on for 275, bought him again for 750, and then sold him for 6. So, you know, fair play. He probably would have been third choice. I think they've got some younger players that they are going to play as the third choice goalkeeper this year, so that's decent business. Danny Hughes has also left. He was kind of a young striker we signed to kind of fill out the B team. English, he's gone to a team that I don't know how to pronounce that actually. Oscar Gonzalez has also left, so they've lost 2 strikers. So Oscar Gonzalez went to Hertha Berlin for $61 million. Saki left. It might be surprising that I didn't sign him. $46.5 million to Leverkusen. Like, that's not terrible money for him, but I'm actually kind of disappointed in Zakaria Saki. Like, he has not really developed at all in the past 2 years. This is what he looked like at like 17 years old. He just has not improved at all. So I wasn't confident bringing him in that he developed to be this 5-star player that he's supposed to be. Like, if you compare him to some other like 19, 20-year-olds, like one currently at Sporting, if we go back here, we should be able to find him. Was it the year prior? When did we sign? There he is, Nick Cooper. This is Nick Cooper, who's 1 year older. miles better. Just miles better. Another player I might sign at some point, by the way. But yeah, so Saki at 19, I just didn't think he was ever going to actually be anything. So I even though we could have used him as like a developmental center back, I couldn't spend that much money in a player I just didn't have much faith in anymore. So I didn't sign Saki, but he has left to go to Leverkusen. And they've also sold Daniel Weigl for 69 million, nice, to Manchester City. So they have signed 2 Sporting fullbacks. You know, quite a few years ago, they spent 200 million on Isaac Bergman-Johannesson, and now they bought Daniel Weigl. So he's going to be an option for them at right back and also play right wing, right mid, midfield. Really good versatile player, but not one that we really had much of a need for. So I wasn't going to spend that much money in a player that I didn't really need. In terms of their signings, they signed a couple of young players, Jose Perez, Jose Luis Suarez, some decent players on cheap deals. One they did sign that actually I wanted to sign. I had agreed to contract with, but he chose Milan. They have signed Arthur Theet, who's a center back, 30 years old, really solid, very good player. Like, I think I actually went for Ruan after I couldn't get this guy. So I think it worked out for both of us, but he has actually signed for Sporting. Another young player, Guilherme, I believe. Obviously, they've loaned back Carazo, and they brought Imahima Kali, another winger. Obviously, we didn't have any, so they had to sign some wingers over the past 2 years. I'm assuming he's going to be like a depth option. If they're relying on him to be a starter, you ain't getting to a Champions League final. But 36 million from Dortmund, I wouldn't have done the business personally, even if I needed that position. But, you know, you do you. All right, now it's finally time to take on Arsenal. So let's go through the team we've got. Obviously, this is the full squad for this season. Cisse on the bench as a backup left back option. I would have liked to have him on the bench for this game because Reguilon is currently injured, but Arsenal is his parent club, so he couldn't even be on the bench, which is just terrible timing. Zvonarek is also, like I said, he's a little bit coming back from injury. He's not fit enough to play this game. He's going to be a backup winger option. Kendrick still here. Nielsen still here as like a third, fourth choice. Bazunu and Baxter. On the bench, we've got Sesko. Mount's going to play like as a wide option in this game. Isaac Beattie, player you might remember that when I saw him as a 16-year-old when he did at Chelsea, and he was the greatest 16-year-old I've ever seen. He's pretty dang good at 19 still. Apparently doesn't have a lot of potential, but he's a solid player. Does need to be registered, so he's taken over as like a backup midfield option. I needed another midfielder, one that didn't need to be registered, and we had one sitting right there in Isaac Beattie, so he's going to be in and around the team. Fromm also here on the bench. Kessie on the bench. Doyle's going to be kind of a backup left back this game. Jimmy Wong is our new backup right back. He is the Kalulu replacement. He's obviously not a same kind of player exactly. He's 5'7", so he can't play center back no matter what they try to tell you. He has 5 jumping reach as well. Like, they have played him as center back before. They dumb. Never play this man as a center back. Maybe if you're playing a back 3, even then I wouldn't like it. But he's not an ideal attacking fullback. His crossing and dribbling aren't amazing, but they're good enough, and he's got really good mentals, really good physicals. I think he could do the job pretty well. He's only 22 years old. He's homegrown at club. Wages aren't crazy. I thought it made sense to have him be the new backup right back. And then we've got Mancini on the bench as the backup center back. But our starting lineup this game, Bruno Thiago up front. I'm trying him out as a Trek. I don't love advanced forwards in a 4-3-3. I just feel like they get isolated far too much. I want somebody that's going to drop deeper a little bit, and he's not an ideal deep lying forward. He's not an ideal false 9. He can do it pretty well, but I prefer him a little bit more of an attacking role because he's such a good finisher. Not an ideal complete forward with this lack of work rate. Poacher, again, just I feel like that it's just completely opposite of what I want. It's even worse than advanced forward, so never going to use him as a poacher, and he's not a pressing forward. So I'm going to try him as a Trek. He's got the passing ability, the decisions, and all that to do it, the composure. We'll see. We'll see if it works. If not, I might just bite the bullet, make him an advanced forward. Pino on the left, Havertz on the right, Gavi Mariba Camavinga, Ruggeri, Badiashile, Cerezo, James, Mendy. Most of the team is as you know it, but Thiago up top. Hopefully he'll bring goals for us this season. That was an issue a little bit last season. 12.5 minutes in, we've got our first highlight, and it's going to start with Arsenal playing out from the back. Goalkeeper goes long. We're going to win this easily. Mendy's going to bring it down, and what are you doing? There's a reason we replaced you, and you just got saved, because if not, I might have just benched him. Like, you can only play 24 games this season. You wouldn't even reach that if that would have gone in. If you question why I spent $171 million on a goalkeeper, that is why. Stuff like that cannot happen. He's just very lucky that he didn't actually score that. He definitely should have. Now Arsenal are going to win this, and they're going to go into another attack. Hopefully Mendy doesn't screw up again. Ramsdale's going to go from the back with a bad distribution. Gavi picks it up and goes to Yermi Pino, who finds Ilaix Mariba. The tactic, other than the change at the role at striker, the tactic is exactly the same. I haven't made any changes. We'll try it out again this season. I thought it did pretty good for us. We only lost the one game against Liverpool, and other than that, I thought we played really well. And hopefully the goal issue is just going to be personnel, not tactic. So far, Havertz with the goal. That might be the case, even though he's not obviously new personnel, and Thiago didn't really touch the ball. He's on 6.4. We'll ignore that. We've got a goal. We've got a lead away at the Emirates against Arsenal. 34 minutes in, getting ready to get to halftime. Hopefully there's no more stings in the tail before then. 41st minute. This has not been a great game. I think only 3 shots or 4 shots in total between both teams, and nearly one that went in the back of the net for Arsenal. Just absolute defensive masterclass, you might want to say. That might be a little. But it was a good defensive play. He blocks the shot and saves Mendy from having to make a save, which I'm not sure if he can do. We saw that penalty shootout. Arsenal now, they're going to look like they might have one last attack. There's 30 seconds left in this half. If they score in this last freaking touch of the half, I mean, we can score if we want. I mean, apparently not. But if they do, I'll be a little upset. Saka's going to find Tomiyasu. A couple original Arsenal players from season 1 of this save. Another block. Another big block. This time Cerezo. And we're going to lose it again. We're going to go long. And we don't have Lukaku up there anymore. Thiago's not that guy. 62nd minute, Arsenal have the ball once again. I have just made one slight tweak to the tactic. I've gone with low crosses. I'm going to try them out. Thiago, obviously, he's not Lukaku. Good Lord. We've nearly been paid for 2 defensive mistakes. Fortunately, they're bad at shooting. But Thiago, obviously, not Lukaku. He doesn't have the size, doesn't have the physicality, but he's not bad in the air. He's 6 foot, like 13 jumping reach, 14 heading. Not terrible, but he's got really good pace, especially his acceleration very high, off the ball very high. I think low crosses could work really well. Didn't get to see one there. They clear this one out. There might be a penalty, though. Apparently, there was a push. I didn't see it, but was it Bruno Thiago that was pushed? This might be a penalty. And if it is, I think Bruno Thiago's going to take it. He was our penalty taker at Sporting. He never missed for us, and he might get his first chance here at Chelsea. For his first Chelsea goal, 71 minutes in, from the penalty spot. I mean, come on. Apparently, Chelsea players just can't score penalties. It must be something about the shirt or the badge. I don't know. The color? I don't know. That should have gone in the back of the net, though. He didn't miss a single penalty for Sporting. His first one for Chelsea, saved. We're going to see this corner, though, but it's probably not going to come to anything. Ruggeri, back post, Badiashile, over, and that's highlight over. We should be 2-0 up right now. We're going to see an immediate highlight, though. A throw in, and we immediately throw it away. Our defensive mistakes have been terrible so far, and I don't know what to accredit it to. We didn't really see that last year. Goal kick now from Arsenal, and they're going to win it back. Tierney's going to pick this up and go to Smith Rowe. We have made one sub. Sterling's come on for Pino. Pino has had a shocking game so far. Sterling might be a player you're surprised to see in the team still. I kind of even am. I was intent on selling him, and he actually wants to leave. I think we've had to accept a transfer request from him, but just no one's interested because he's not good. And former Chelsea player Soon Sabel, please be ruled out. Because wasn't he on Watford last year and he scored on us? And now he goes to Chelsea or goes to Arsenal and scores on us. You can't write this shit. We've got what might be the last highlight of the game, 86th minute, and it's going to start with Arsenal. I feel like every single highlight has started with Arsenal, but we are going to win this back. Bruno Thiago has not had a debut to remember. He didn't play well, and he missed a penalty that right now would have us in the lead. But we've got another chance. Sesko's on the pitch, and he's never reaching that one. Ramsdale, see if we can do some good distribution here. Is he going to go long? It looks like he might. He's just going to waste time, apparently. They're happy with this result. I mean, to be fair, I kind of am too. Brown on the ball, right back. He's going to go long, but Ruggeri's going to pick this up. We're going to have another chance. Badiashile into Ilaix Mariba. Gavi's also come off. Mason Mount's come on, and that is a terrible pass intended for Mason Mount. Soon Sabel, Odegaard, Luka. Good God. Harazo cannot get here soon enough. Mendy literally cannot move. And it was Raheem Sterling who used the ball away, because of course it is. But I'm starting to feel like it might have been a mistake to loan Harazo back out, because that should be saved 100% of the time by any goalkeeper at a top-level club. Like, good God, Mendy is garbage. I mean, financially, it made so much sense to loan Harazo out. Like, he's on so much money. I'm trying to, kind of do things the right way, but in the end of the day, you got to win games, and Mendy's going to lose us far too many games. But we're kind of stuck with it now. Maybe we can recall him. towards the end of the window. Is that the right call? I mean, we'd have to unregister somebody, but based on what I just saw from Mendy, it might be worth it. I don't think we're going to have another chance. We've gone to 3 up top. We've gone all out. Sterling should not be a false 9, by the way. This is his advanced forward, so I don't know what they're smoking. But please give me one more highlight. Like, this should be a draw. 92 minutes, we've got a chance. It's going to start with a goal kick from Arsenal, though. Can we intercept this and go on a counterattack? Can we just do something? Please? Please, anyone? Please, anyone? Good God. Okay. Yeah. Mendy ain't it. That might be some of the worst goalkeeping. Like, those last 2 attempts, that might be some of the worst goalkeeping I've ever seen in Football Manager. Not just 22, like, just ever. I can't sell him. He won't leave. I've already had an offer for him. I thought I was going to bring in Harazo soon and just sell him now, but Mendy refuses to leave because he's a sadist or something. Or has an agenda against Chelsea. I don't know. But he's just cost us a point, 2 points here, if not 3. Yeah, he can't start anymore. He cannot continue to be our goalkeeper. I already knew he wasn't playing 24 games or 25 games. I don't know if he's playing 2. 6.3. And that's probably generous. All right, well, interaction, disciplined player, 2 weeks. Moved to under 18s. Get out. And hey, Giovanni, how you feeling, bro? Okay, yeah. Alrighty then. So I'll see you next episode for Southampton and Liverpool, and we'll see the video debut of a certain Giovanni Harazo. If you made it this far and think Eduardo Mendy's a knob, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. The links to all my socials and my Twitch are in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time.